hope I find everybody well. Today is another day that the Lord has given me and you to share again something very important. Today I came across a group of some fellow Zimbabweans, so-called the Mzilikazi group, if I'm not mistaken. I like listening to people when they speak, especially when they are from Zimbabwe. I listened for some 10 to 20 minutes from their speeches, the way they were discussing. And I've discovered that there is a lot of work that we should look at and find ways to heal people's hearts so that we come to a point where everyone is heard. By listening to these numbers of hundreds of people in a group discussing hatred with evil words that they were speaking, insults, calling Amashona, Amashina, they were calling Shona Amashina, and they were talking about they want to have their own country, they want to separate Zimbabwe into two pieces, from the part of Gweru and go to Bedbridge and all the way to Bulawayo to make it the Mzilikazi country. That's what they were discussing. Why is this issue so concerning? Why is this issue so important? It is because every Zimbabwean is very important, including those people who were discussing in that group. I hope this video is going to find many people who are both Shonas and Ndeveles. These are the most critical groups of people in Zimbabwe, which we find have a lot of conflicts. I would like to share my own opinion. There is, truly speaking, there is a lot of things that we need to look at and face them and see how do we find solutions. Things like the issue of Gukurahunde that happened in 1980 going up to 1989 in Zimbabwe. There is a lot, hundreds of Ndebele people who were killed by the government of Zimbabwe. And the Ndebele people are actually seeking for clarity and explanation and are seeking for ways to be apologized, ways to find peace with themselves and the other people. Let's look at this and see where it may have started. Before Shaka was born, his father was coming from a group of people called the Mtetwa people. The Mtetwa people are the one who gave birth to Shaka WaKwaZulu. That was his surname. So when Shaka was born, he came to power and started conquering many people by wars. Then most people who were conquered, they end up joining Shaka, and then they call themselves Zulus. So among the people that Shaka was fighting with, there was Mzilikazi. Mzilikazi fought Shaka, and he failed, and he had to run away with a group of people from Kumalo people. These are the people that he traveled from KwaZulu-Natal, then he reached Petersburg. This is 1880s. We're talking about 100 years ago. 1880s. Arrived in Petersburg. There was a lot of diseases caused by fly, according to history. Then some Ndebele people were left there. That's why you see today we have Ndebele people in South Africa who are in Petersburg, somewhere there in Nepal. From there, Mzilikazi moved down till we reached a place called, they call it Bulawayo March as we speak. When Mzilikazi arrived in that place, he already found people staying there because it was a business center for the Shona people who were doing barter trade. Mzilikazi is said to have killed thousands of Shona people, take away their wives, and take away their livestock by force. Remember, the Shona people were not violent. They were not skilled in conquering people through fight. They were peaceful people when they arrived there. If you want to read the history of Zimbabwe, you can go back to the Nyatsimba Mtota, the Guruswa people. Then you will see how they were fighting, but not that maliciousness. But when Mzilikazi came, he was carrying the same spirit Shaka had, and he found people who are vulnerable, people who were not strong to defend themselves, who were not skillful in the terms of wars that they engaged. Then the Shona people had to run away. Some people assume that the name Shona is coming from the Ndebele people who were saying, by Chona, they are running away, they are disappearing. But that is not it as well. We'll come to explain to that point in another day, to teach and educate people where are the Shona people called Shona and where are they coming from. As there are groups of 5 dialects people, the Zezuru, the Kalanga, the Ndau, and the others. Anyway, we will carry on explaining so that people will understand where are we going with this topic. So for those Ndebele people who are listening to me, I want you to listen very carefully that I am not supporting the Gukurahunde, and I am also not supporting the Mzilikazi killing the Shona people, take their wives and their livestock in 1880s. But I am trying to explain the spirit of killing, revenge, this anger that is in the spirit that we are actually attracting when we start thinking about our country as Zimbabwe and we want to fight. It is no longer our war, it is the war of the spirits that we are entertaining, that we are borrowing, that we are engaging into. The spirits of our forefathers who were killing and got killed in battles. So, if you want to check now, in 1980 to 1989, when Zimbabwe got liberation from the war that was started by the Zimbabweans, both from Mashonaland, Matebeleland, and Manikaland. When these wars started, they ended up with a lot of conflicts that happened in Zimbabwe when they were fighting for the liberation of Zimbabwe during the Ian Smith regime. Remember, in 1964, when the British said that all the governments which were colonized by British, they have to be independent, Smith decided not to do that, and he kept Zimbabwe into his capacity. Remember, Smith was also sanctioned for that by Britain. But if you want to look deeper into it, you will see that that is when the black Zimbabwean people, both in the village Shona, Ndau, Xhosa, Sutus, they came together, starting fighting against Smith regime until they liberated Zimbabwe in 1980. With political parties which went to elections,